Hello everyone and welcome to the 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫 Gamescast, episode 110. Today we're going to be discussing all of the hate flooding in from the internet for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. We're going to be explaining our thoughts and give some possible reasons why it's an actual limited release. And we're going to be talking about a lot of our criticism and ways that we would try and fix this. So start us off, Daniel, with what is one of the biggest criticisms that you have seen about this game so far?
Okay, well, I guess there's two big ones. The first one's being everyone's like, where's Galaxy 2? Because Mario 3D All-Stars will include Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, but not Galaxy 2. The other one would be the limited run of the game, that it's only going to be available from September 18th until the end of March.
Yes.
So 6
and
months.
I was telling you my theory, which we'll get to in a minute, on our Discord earlier.
Yeah, well, first of all, end of March is the end of Nintendo's fiscal year. So I think there's sort of... first of all, it's supposed to be in celebration of Mario's 35th anniversary, so it kind of makes sense to try and keep it around that time frame. But also, I think it's kind of a way to force a scarcity or force an urgency in people's minds. It's like, I gotta buy it now or I'm never gonna be able to buy it. So they are just gonna end up going for it and get those sales into there before the end of the fiscal year. So it's it seems like a business tactic to me in that sense. But also, as far as Galaxy 2 being missing, I've never played the Galaxy game, so I'm just excited to be able to play the first one on there already. But I also feel like they're kind of giving you the sample pack of like this is one game from each of these 3 console generations, and so it almost feels like if you had both Galaxy games, they'd overshadow the other 2 because there'd be a skewed ratio then, if that makes sense. So it's kind of nice having it at even amount, one game per console generation.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going into earlier with my theory, as we'll call it, that I was telling you earlier on Discord, which kind of just came to me and it clicked. I was trying to make sense on like why these 3 games, and everyone else, give me your thoughts on this in the chat as well, because anyone can probably piece together a dozen different reasons on why only 3 games are included and why Galaxy 2 isn't. But I see it as simply being 3 different games from 3 different generations / consoles. It having the first big / main 3D Mario game from each console or generation. So more of a celebration of Mario's 3D history, given some updates, but still trying to preserve the original feel and look of the original games.
Yeah.
Which is why Super Mario 64 wasn't given the big remake treatment that a lot of people are complaining about, and is still in the original aspect ratio with minor changes.
Yeah. I feel like that's
it.
A really good way to phrase it, actually.
Yeah. So it's them again. It's more of a way to celebrate the history and the way you remember originally playing it.
Yeah, you can look at these 3 games and be like, oh, look how far Mario's come since those blocky polygonal days on the 64 and then Galaxy, and then now, it definitely feels like that celebration of Mario's history. Because I think if they were to do some big HD remake of these 3 games, that they would just sort of all blend together and look the same, and they'd lose their visual identities. And then you'd be paying
$60 for each.
Yes, and then Nintendo would charge you full price all the way. So
yeah, and even ties into a piece of news that came from a year or 2 ago, that a lot of people probably forgot about or just didn't realize in the first place, is that... Hold on.
Okay.
I gotta make sure that this is still... Yeah, okay. That a lot of people don't know about, which is in China, Nintendo has officially already released Super Mario Galaxy in HD. And not just emulated, but an official optimized version of Super Mario Galaxy running on essentially identical Nintendo Switch hardware because of NVIDIA and their partnership with NVIDIA. They have the NVIDIA Shield tablet, which is literally the same hardware as the Nintendo Switch, just without the screen. So just imagine a Nintendo Switch that's permanently plugged into the TV. And that's basically what it is. And in China, they have a lot of different laws about video games. There was a video game ban for a long time. And that's why, like a long time ago, Nintendo came out with the Nintendo 64 controller that had a bunch of games.
Right. The IQ player.
Yes, the IQ player. That was basically the Nintendo 64 console shoved into a controller, and then you just plug it into your TV and play. Which had an updated version of Super Mario 64 that a lot of people... that's also a bit of trivia. It wasn't just Super Mario 64, it was an actual updated version of Super Mario 64. I forgot what updates it had. I don't think it was anything major, but it was an updated version. But with Super Mario Galaxy on the NVIDIA Shield running in... that was another thing, is that it also runs the game not just in HD at 1080p, but it runs it at like 1200p, or like... I forgot what the resolution is, but it's like a small step up from 1080p. So it's actually at a higher resolution than the Nintendo Switch can even play it. And it runs it perfectly smooth. So the weird thing is a lot of people are looking at comparison videos and stuff and saying that on the current Nintendo Switch, which again, essentially the same hardware, it's like downclocked a little bit because of battery output and heat output and stuff, but runs above 1080p at a steady frame rate, does not dip, the frame rate does not go down, the resolution does not go down, but the Nintendo Switch version runs up to 1080p. That's just some fun news for people that didn't know about that. And Twilight Princess is also on the hardware as well, so to make it as simple as possible. A lot of people are looking at this from the perspective of it's a really bad HD Mario collection because there's only 3 games. Like, they're not even at full HD.
Yeah, but
and
for
it's
Super
not
Mario
even
64. Like, do you need it to be in a higher resolution than 720p?
Yeah, and it's not 16:9. So like, a lot of people are like, Nintendo, they're so lazy. They didn't even bother making it widescreen. Like, that's just one click of a button on almost any emulator. And Nintendo is so lazy, they couldn't even do that. And it also answers why Nintendo would put out what everyone is calling a horrible HD collection. And that is very simple. This is not meant to be at all a Super Mario HD collection.